Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng watched the departing Gu Yi Knight and felt a little regret. He simply could not comply this time, and while things might not seem any different on the outside, there was bound to be a knot formed in their hearts. What a pity, Luo Feng said quietly. My soul-type true treasure, Tao Pearl, is one of the treasures from the Star Tower and already recognizes me as its master. Universe Knights who try to merge with it will die. If it was an ordinary soul-type true treasure, temporarily loaning it to Gu Yi Knight wouldn't be a big deal. Anyway, the original star opens for 1,000 eras. I can also wait for a few hundred eras. My power is bound to get much stronger. Who knows? I might even become a Universe Knight. Luo Feng. Bloody Wing Knight walked over. I think you should lend it to Gu Yi Knight. Gu Yi Knight is of a different status. It is not easy for him to make such a request. Ha ha. That goes without saying. Luo Feng laughed and shook his head. It wasn't because he did not want to him lend the treasure. He couldn't. It's up to you, Bloody Wing Knight said good-naturedly. You are quite ambitious. Well, I would like to give it a shot, Luo Feng replied. Indeed, Luo Feng wanted to experience what it was like on the mysterious original star. But he knew his power still did not make the grade. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Time flew by, and many Universe Knights approached Luo Feng, wanting to borrow his true treasures. Naturally, most great beings would think that Luo Feng would not want to enter the original star. Yet, they all were met with rejection. Of those who approached Luo Feng, some were friends, some were close acquaintances, and others were complete strangers. Asterisk 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 asterisk. News of how the earliest batch of Universe Knights was rejected when they went to Luo Feng to borrow his true treasures spread fast. Almost all the Universe Knights came to learn of it. Blade River Emperor Luo Feng actually wanted to venture into the original star, and anyone who wanted to borrow his true treasures could banish all thoughts of it. Conversations on the topic were common. Luo Feng wants to enter the original star. He is merely an undying fighter. Although he is said to be impressive, he is still just a secondary Universe Knight. Yet he owns so many true treasures. In the original star, he will be a walking treasury. Any supreme beings from the other races will attack him as soon as they meet him. Isn't he courting his doom? If he wants to die, what do you care? Going into the original star at that level is purely suicidal. Let's see what his end shall be when he enters the original star. It is okay for him to die. But if he dies, the true treasures will land in the hands of the other races. That will be a loss for our entire race, a most egregious sin. Fret not. He will not die so easily. Primal Chaos City leader values him a lot. He will help him. Who knows? Primal Chaos City leader may even arrange for 2 other universe overlords to form a team with him. There was indeed quite a crowd of Universe Knights who either found Luo Feng's very presence an eyesore, or were jealous of him. These Universe Knights were always fighting hard to obtain valuables to offer their race, so they could earn contributions in exchange for valuables and resources they needed for themselves. Yet, as a sector lord, Luo Feng could obtain soul-type true treasures. Of course, this would cause the other Universe Knights to develop a great deal of resentment, discontent, and even hostility toward him. Many Universe Knights were just waiting to watch Luo Feng make a fool of himself. He had to be kidding. What kind of a place was the original star? It was a realm where Universe Masters and Universe Overlords ran rampant, where senior Universe Knights were commonly seen, and even senior Universe Knights would usually form teams to survive there. The power of any team, regardless of size, could not be belittled, so how could Luo Feng, who was only undying, overcome such odds? Even if he was blessed with a special life form, even if he was blessed with special techniques, or even the most powerful valuables, he did not stand a chance. He was undying, which meant his fate was predetermined, and he could never create miracles on that original star. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the virtual universe, on the mountainside of Thunder Island, disciple and teacher, Luo Feng and Tru Yang Knight, met up. I will not be entering that original star, said Tru Yang Knight. My powers are far from adequate. There was a note of bitterness in his eyes. I would really love to give it a shot, but I know where I stand. Luo Feng, you are my disciple, so let me give you some advice. Your powers are impressive enough, but there is no rush to enter the original star. Moreover, because of your eagerness, you may have estranged your relationship with two universe overlords. Luo Feng could only laugh. Yes, there were two universe overlords who wanted to borrow his true treasures. One was Gui Yi Knight, and the other was Bai Feng Knight. Both had wanted to borrow his soul-type true treasure, but he was unable to accede to their requests, and he could not explain why. You are certainly my disciple, said Tru Yang Knight. You even share the same temperament as me. Tru Yang Knight laughed while shaking his head. However, when you enter the original star, you must be careful. Be amply prepared. Judging from the information we have gathered so far, it is really very dangerous in there. Luo Feng nodded. Senior universe knights getting killed was common. In fact, it was frequently seen. Universe overlords getting killed was common enough. There were quite a handful of universe overlord deaths. Universe masters getting killed. That was possible, too. Teacher, I am preparing, Luo Feng said. Said Tru Yang Knight. You did not lend the true treasures to anyone, so now, many universe knights of the human race are waiting to see you make a joke of yourself. Even your friends are not quite convinced that you are capable of such an unlikely achievement. But I am your teacher. I have watched you grow along the way. I believe in you. Luo Feng grinned. Remember, do not give them the chance to mock you, Tru Yang Knight said. Yes, teacher, Luo Feng said, nodding. Asterisk 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 asterisk. A moment later, Luo Feng watched the departing Tru Yang Knight. I'm afraid that, other than teacher, not many believe that I can accomplish this miraculous task, Luo Feng said softly. Even I am not so confident, given my current power. If I were to run into a universe overlord, I would still need to avoid him. Trying to snatch food from a tiger's mouth is reckless. Trying to vie for those true treasures is the same. Too difficult. Force armor. Don't disappoint me. Luo Feng was sure of his power. With his power, he could run rampant anywhere in the universe. Yet, in that original star, where supreme beings from billions of races gathered, that was where the truly bloody fights occurred. Among all the universe masters, universe overlords, and senior universe knights in their own small teams, he was indeed ranked at the bottom. He could only depend on force armor. The universe supreme master, Sitting Mountain Guest, left his second disciple two true treasures. One was the Yang Shan halberd, and the other was the original soul. For his third disciple, Luo Feng, he also left two true treasures. One was the Star Tower, the other was the Force Armor. The Star Tower had met with some accidents while in the making, bringing about an explosive boost in its power, allowing it to reach the level of a supreme true treasure. Force Armor, Yang Shan halberd, and Original Soul, they were all true treasures that were of the same standard. Every one of them was unimaginably precious. Sitting Mountain Guest had paid an immeasurable amount for these. They did not pale in comparison to Primal Chaos City Leader's Thousand Treasures River. However, Force Armor had been specially refined by Sitting Mountain Guest for his prospective third disciple, and it was designed and created according to his plan, so that it would be customized to a high degree of compatibility with Luo Feng when he used it. The Star Map and Shawu Wings are just ordinary true treasures, Luo Feng thought. Universe Masters are not concerned with them, as they do not serve much use. Force Armor, however, though a measure below the Star Tower, which is one of the supreme true treasures of the universe, still qualifies as one of the top-tier true treasures and pinnacle true treasures. It is much stronger than the Shawu Wings. The might of Force Armor must be quite extraordinary. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Yangshan race lived in a deserted land far away from the human domain. It was an independent race that occupied a large region of the universe. Weng. On a desolate planet, vivid green light rays filled the surroundings. A hideous being of another undying race, and a youth clad in golden armor appeared on this desolate planet. Not bad, said the youth in the golden armor said, flashing a smile after one look at the hideous being. The hideous-looking being groveled in veneration repeatedly. According to the many different races under my command, and the many tokens and locations they have left in this universe, right here is the area closest to the Yangshan race. With a wave, Luo Feng summoned the hideous-looking being into his world ring. Setting off from here to where the Yangshan race is, the distance is still incredibly far. Fortunately, I have the ancient boat galaxy. Luo Feng flipped his hand, and an ancient boat the size of a date kernel appeared on his palm. Larger, larger, larger. Luo Feng waved his hand. The ancient boat flew up into the air in an instant. At the same time, Luo Feng exerted his godly power with a gurgle. His godly power prompted a change as the ancient boat quickly grew larger while suspended in the air. In the blink of an eye, it became as big as the planet Luo Feng was on. Luo Feng laughed. Then, with a single step, he boarded the ancient boat. He stood on the deck, looking at the vast starry sky. A top-tier treasure such as a flying palace type is so much more powerful than a universe planet ship. Luo Feng exerted his godly power and shrank the ancient boat until it was about 3,200 feet long. After all, to keep the ancient boat at such an enormous size would have required him to use up a lot of his godly power. Take off. Luo Feng commanded using his mind. The ancient boat accelerated sharply, while sweeping away, it left a silver flare across the starry sky. Almost immediately, it reached the threshold of the speed of light. Thereafter, it disappeared from the sky and entered the dark universe. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Within the dark universe, the ancient boat galaxy was still accelerating at a crazy rate. 10 times the speed of light. 20 times the speed of light. 30 times the speed of light. 100 times the speed of light. 200 times the speed of light. 300 times the speed of light. Ha ha ha. Marvelous, marvelous. Standing before the handrails on the ship's deck, Luo Feng held on to the railing and looked out. The prow of the ancient boat galaxy had naturally formed a shield that protected the ship within it. Compared to those biological planet ships and mechanical planet ships, this is much faster. Luo Feng constantly increased the speed of the ancient boat galaxy. Finally, at almost 800 times the speed of light, the speed ceased to increase. This was Luo Feng's limit, not the limit of the ancient boat galaxy. If Luo Feng had set his godly power ablaze, he would have increased the speed even more. And if Luo Feng's law comprehension had been better, he would have been able to increase the speed to a superior level. Enough, Luo Feng said to himself. I think it should take around 2 months, or more of flying in the dark universe, to reach the Yangshan secret region. The Yangshan race lived in a large region of the universe, and because this region was occupied and ruled by the Yangshan race, some universe great beings often referred to it as the Yangshan secret region. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Riding the ancient boat galaxy, Luo Feng traversed the dark universe. After close to 3 months, the ancient boat galaxy finally reduced its speed and left the dark universe. In the vast, empty sky, Luo Feng stood on the deck of the ancient boat galaxy, gripping the rail as he looked out. I have reached the Yangshan secret region. Flame Emperor led the flame god race out of the human race and found a remote territory far away from the human territory to live and breed. After many eons, flame god race became much stronger, and together with Flame Emperor's invincible power, nobody dared to mess with the flame god race. The territories of flame god race and the human race were extremely distant from each other, but the flame god race would often enter the outer domain battlefield, joining other groups to fight against the humans. I obtained some pieces of armors before, and they're all in the garbage dump after the war. Luo Feng stood on the deck of ancient boat Galaxy and gazed out into space. The flame god race has already detached from the human race, but they still cooperate with the bug race, the demon race, and automaton race to fight the humans. It seems there's a feud between them and the human race. Technically, the flame god race had belonged to the humans before. Now that they had left the human race, there was no need for them to continue the fight. However, the information Luo Feng had obtained in the virtual universe, along with the armor pieces he had found in the dump pile, indicated that the flame god race was hostile toward the human race. Flame Emperor is a universe master cultivated by Masters Washan Ku, thought Luo Feng, and he has two powerful true treasures, Flame God Halberd and Original Soul. He's definitely much more powerful than Master of Sky Wolf. However, even if he exited the human race, he didn't dare to go against Masters Washan Ku. Luo Feng waved his hands. An ancient boat Galaxy immediately shrank to the size of a date pit and fell into his palm. I'll go and see this second brother of mine. Luo Feng teleported himself toward the lair of the flame god race. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The flame god race lived on 3 vast continents. The smallest of the 3 had a diameter of over 1 light year, and the largest one had a diameter of more than 3 light years. The 3 of them surrounded each other. In the central space of the lands floated towering palaces, and there were endless fires around the palaces, burning black, purple, white, green and blue. Undying warriors were walking in the hallway and on the square. Sometimes, they would look to the tallest main palace at the center with veneration. All the warriors of the flame god race were tall, robust, and aggressive-looking. The shorter ones were 25 feet tall, while the taller ones were over 30 feet tall. There were scales covering their skins, and each had a single horn set between their eyebrows. Their hands and feet looked like those of earthlings, but thicker and covered in scales. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Inside the main palace, a towering being sat on the throne. It was almost 6,000 miles tall, and the air exhaled from its nose burned the space around him. His black horn seemed to pierce the sky, and he was covered in black scales. He tapped on the handrail and gazed out into space. He saw the shadow of Luo Feng flying toward him in the distance. Such a strong force. There's a guest in the secret region of my flame god race, the towering figure whispered. He was a universe master. Ordinary universe knights were already able to sense faraway space ripples, but universe masters, who were able to completely control space and time, were able to detect all the space ripples within tens of millions of light years around him. As long as he wanted, space and time were like his horns that could spread. Let's see who the guest is. The towering being looked afar and saw through everything blocking his sight. A black-haired young man was flying toward him. The force of the towering being on the throne trembled, shaking the surrounding space. Third brother. The towering being murmured. I knew you'd come here after becoming undying. Taking True Yang as your teacher, and Primal Chaos City Leader as your teacher. Third brother, why are you so connected to the human race? Have you forgotten that your homeland, Earth, was robbed by the human race? Don't you know that they treat you well, because they want you to sacrifice for them? He shook his head. I'm sorry. I won't allow a true treasure like Force Armor to fall into human hands. The towering being smiled. Without Masters Washan Ku's order, you will never get the Force Armor. Masters Washan Ku. Flame God felt intimidated even mentioning that name. The more powerful he got, the more he realized how remarkable Washan Ku was. Washan Ku had given Flame Emperor the original soul, the Flame God Halberd, and Force Armor. He left Force Armor in Flame Emperor's place only temporarily. After becoming a universe master with 3 super true treasures, there was almost no one whom he needed to be afraid of. He wasn't afraid of Primal Chaos City Leader, or Meng Tuol Master. Although the pinnacle beings among the universe masters were able to suppress him, they couldn't kill him. The only ones who were capable of killing him were the universe supreme masters. All the universe supreme masters were incredibly powerful. They were able to change laws and completely control a certain area. However, the universe law suppressed them from being too powerful, and that was why they could only manifest power slightly stronger than Primal Chaos City Leader and Meng Tool Master. That gigantic axe founder didn't dare anger me because of his relationship with the human race, muttered Flame Emperor. However, Masters was Shan, who has all sorts of skills, and everyone who messed with him ended up being crushed. Flame Emperor's eyes gleamed coldly. Besides, he's always been alone, and he knows all my trump cards. If we fight, I'll. Zhuoshoku was the only one in the universe that Flame Emperor feared. Besides, even I can't control the force armor completely. Flame Emperor stroked his arms, and a transparent suit of armor appeared on top of his scales. There were intricate engravings constantly changing on it. Zhuoshoku was the best at creating true treasures. The force armor was created for my third brother, and thus all the other great beings aren't able to make it recognize them as their owners. Even though I'm able to do that, I can only wield a part of its power. Like Tower Pearl. Anyone who tried would die. Although the force armor was not that extreme, the other great beings wouldn't utilize it at all. Even Flame Emperor was only able to partially utilize it. Although I'm only able to wield a portion of its power, it's still better than lots of top-tier true treasures. Flame Emperor caressed the transparent armor and looked at the shadow in the distance. He smiled and whispered, "Third brother, if you can arrive here and get to see me, I'll follow the order from Zhuoshoku and hand it to you. However, the prerequisite is for you to see me, or you at least need to arrive at the dwelling place of Flame God Race." As long as Luo Feng didn't arrive, didn't get the chance to tell the undying fighters within Flame God Race of his intentions, then Flame Emperor could pretend to know nothing. However, if Luo Feng couldn't even make it to the land of the Flame God Race to see the seniors within the Flame God Race, Flame Emperor could pretend not to know about it. Hee. You want the force armor now? Wait until you become a universe knight. Your power is not even strong enough to get to the land of Flame God Race. Flame Emperor abruptly stood up, left his throne room, and walked outside of the palace. Flame Emperor knew Zhuoshoku's personality, as everything he did could be tolerated by Zhuoshoku. Seal. Flame Emperor muttered. The space ripples hundreds of light years around his center became completely sealed. The space coordinates of the Flame God Race are already concealed, but I'll add some further security to that. Even if you ask Primal Chaos City Leader to help you crack it, it'll take some time. Flame Emperor smiled and flew into the dark universe at light speed. Luo Feng teleported himself continuously as he approached the land of the Flame God Race. Almost there. Luo Feng thought. Huh. Luo Feng said, suddenly stopping to look at the space in front of him. Star fragments floated before him. The space ripples here are completely locked. Why? Within the five-color Aurora Lake, great beings are unable to teleport themselves, thought Luo Feng, and teleportation is only allowed in certain areas on Bohinia Island. In some of the vital places of human territory, like the Primal region, teleportation is also forbidden. Does this apply to Flame God Race also? Universe Masters were able to sculpt lore engravings on some gigantic special buildings and drove them with specific crystals like Flame God Origin crystals, by which they were able to maintain the effect of Space Seal. They could also accomplish that by using some true treasures. But if he did that, beings of Flame God Race also couldn't teleport themselves. Luo Feng frowned. Did my second brother seal the space deliberately? Wait. Luo Feng sensed something going on behind him. He waved his wings, and a beam of light flashed behind him and reached the dark universe at light speed. Luo Feng flew in the dark universe and arrived at the land of Flame God Race. At least, he thought he did. Where are the coordinates? Where are the coordinates of the lands of Flame God Race? Luo Feng held the locator on his left hand. The coordinates on the screen kept changing, and the coordinates at the center completely disappeared. Luo Feng was stupefied. This was even more brilliant than the way Hu Yangbo had hidden the coordinates in the dark universe. You are simply devious. Luo Feng whispered. You hid the coordinates in the dark universe and sealed the space. Which means I can only fly there. Hundreds of light years. Even if I fly there at light speed, it'll take me hundreds of years to arrive. Luo Feng now realized that his second brother Flame Emperor had done this on purpose. He was clearly reluctant to return the Force armor. However, although he hid the universe coordinates and sealed the space, he didn't come here to attack me, Luo Feng thought. It seems that he doesn't dare go against Shan Ku directly. The Yangshan secret region, upon comparison, was a far cry from the ancestral god's secret region in regards to its level of danger. However, given the power he possessed, the Yangshan secret region alone was not a threat to him in any way. A biological planet ship was heading toward the Yangshan secret region at sublight speed. Second brother. Luo Feng sat in the control room, holding a wine glass. Up until today, Big Brother Put does not own a single real top-tier true treasure. You already have two. At the same time, you have been taking my Force armor under your possession for as long as billions of years. This top-tier true treasure is certainly difficult to part with. Your reluctance to let go of it is completely understandable. However, being overly greedy is not good. Luo Feng tilted his head and emptied his wine glass. Then he poured himself another glass in a carefree manner. The original star stays open for 1,000 eras. Even if I were to ride a planet ship and cruise slowly, it would only take a couple hundred years to reach your Yangshan race's home. A couple of hundred years is merely the time taken for a meditation session. Luo Feng was not the least bit anxious. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Yangshan race had 3 vacant palaces surrounded by land. In the main palace, Flame Emperor's towering figure was looking far out into space, and through the layers of space that obstructed his view, he caught sight of that dark purple biological planet ship. He could even see Luo Feng drinking his wine in a casual manner inside the planet ship. How unbelievable. He does not know when to back off. Flame Emperor shook his head. Space was sealed, and the coordinates of the dark universe were hidden. Yet you simply do not know how to stay away. Dear third brother, do you really think that your second brother would not be able to stop you if I set my mind to it? The original plan was not to offend anyone, but you were so persistent in coming here for your Force armor. Don't blame me, then. A trace of hostility swept across Flame Emperor's face. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Within the territory of the 9-territory alliance, there was a life planet that seemed ordinary, but this was where humans of the mud frog race resided. Thousands of humans of the mud frog race were scattered all over this planet. In one of these communities, following the command given by a burly human of the mud frog race, a group of mud frog race took a test one after another. Individuals will take the test one by one in order, said the burly human. The best performer will be able to receive one-to-one guidance from Third Elder. Upon receiving Third Elder's guidance, one can almost be considered to have become a great being and will be able to fly. From afar, Third Elder stood with his wooden club, smiling as he oversaw everything. His single green eye of his was filled with joy. He relished the peaceful life and living together with the lowest class of this race. When he was still a weak nobody, he used to live in a simple and defenseless community like this. Third Elder gripped his wooden club and frowned. That Blade River Emperor, Luo Feng, who is a human, yet compared to a unique life form with his ability to bend heaven's will, has actually appeared within the territory of Yangshan race. And to have so accurately located our coordinates. Third Elder's single green eye showed a hint of surprise. Unquestionably, this news was released by the Yangshan race. Flame Emperor is a universe master. If Blade River Emperor enters his territory, will he stand back and do nothing? It is also fair to say that since Flame Emperor is one of the top-tier beings among the universe masters, this simply may not be worth his attention. Moreover, I heard that Flame Emperor used to be from the human race. This might be part of his concerns. Blade River Emperor, Luo Feng. He owns at least 6 true treasures. News has spread. Those who dared approach him were universe lords who were supremely confident. Senior universe knights are afraid and thus do not deserve the right to fight. Third Elder oversaw the ongoing test. He loved life in a lowly community, and only he could understand that he was the core of the mud frog race, their true pillar of support. He was the greatest being of the mud frog race, and when it came to enhancing one's power, he was at the top of the list. Soul-type true treasure, he muttered to himself. I must obtain that. Still grasping his scepter, Third Elder remained unmoving on the same spot. His true form, however, had left the planet, leaving behind a soulless human form. As a universe overlord, he only needed an energy form to contain his consciousness. Maintaining his power to meet the level of a sector lord was child's play to him. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Amid one of the universe's secret regions, a seemingly ordinary mountain suspended in the air suddenly opened 9 gigantic eyes. These 9 eyes were filled with excitement. Ha ha ha. Blade River Emperor Luo Feng has actually deviated from the human race. A soul-type true treasure often seen with fighters like the bug soldiers, and every one of them are all masters of the soul type. If I have a soul-type true treasure always on hand, nothing can go wrong. Ha ha. This soul-type true treasure is mine. Following this, the mountain vanished in the blink of an eye. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The moment some supreme beings of the human race got wind of this news, there were explosive reactions within minutes. Why did Luo Feng go to the territory of the Yangshan race? Is he tired of living? Initially, I thought he would die in the original star. But now, it seems he finds the wait to be too long, so he headed straight into the enemy's den. News that spread like wildfire. It started in the open-air square of the World of Glory in the Ancestral God School, which was known to be a top-tier news distribution center. It was where heirs of superpowers of the universe gathered, so it was only a matter of time before everyone got wind of this news. Although he was unable to go to Bohinia Island, and also could not enter the World of Glory, Bark Mirror Emperor, too, heard the news that day. Ha ha. Blade River, he gloated. Ah, Blade River. I have always worried about how you hid among the human race, refusing to come out. There were numerous heirs in the Northern Territory Alliance, and quite a number of them were close to him. Now, you have actually come out, said Bark Mirror Emperor. And you even made it to the territory of the Yangshan race. Now that the original star is about to open, there are many universe overlords finding among themselves with a lack of true treasures, or finding that their true treasures are lacking in power. Yet you choose to make a sudden appearance here in the territory of the Yangshan race. You are courting your own doom, and it is not my fault. Bark Mirror Emperor laughed heartily. This was the happiest moment for him since his resurrection from turning back time. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Supreme beings from various races in the universe had their circles of close friends. They all heard the news and came over to the territory of the Yangshan race in no time. The Yangshan race had 3 vacant palaces surrounded by land. In the main palace, a blurry red light appeared. A lone figure walked through while calling out in a mildly respectful tone, "Flame Emperor." Coming. The towering figure at the palace entrance was staring into space. He smiled as he said, "Ba Feng, the reason I called you here is because of Blade River Emperor Luo Feng." Ba Feng Knight was one of the universe overlords of the 9 Territory Alliance. The shape of his body resembled a bamboo pole, while his skull was squarish. With a furry face and 3 eyes positioned vertically in a straight line, the moment he had his eye on someone, the other party would fall into a state of illusion. Ba Feng might have had powers that were considered average when compared to universe overlords at the same level, but when pitted against weaklings, he was excellent. Blade River Emperor Luo Feng. Ba Feng Knight seemed a little uncertain. I just heard some news. Apparently, Blade River Emperor Luo Feng has appeared here in your territory, Flame Emperor. Yes, Flame Emperor nodded. Take a look. Flame Emperor pointed into the empty space. In that split second, ripples formed within the surface, and a scene that was hundreds of light years away appeared right before him. It was a biological planet ship in flight. This is Blade River Emperor Luo Feng's planet ship, Flame Emperor said with a chuckle. What do you mean? Va Feng Knight said, confused. As you know, I was originally from the human race, said Flame Emperor. Dealing with this fellow. I do not want to do it myself. So you shall do it. I understand, Va Feng said, nodding repeatedly. Va Feng Knight had lived a long life. He knew about the event years ago, when Flame Emperor had betrayed his own human race. That event had been explosive news in the universe during that era. Do not worry, Flame Emperor, Va Feng Knight said with confidence. Though he has the powers of a secondary universe knight, Luo Feng is merely an undying knight. When face to face with me, he stands no chance. Even a senior universe knight does not scare me. He is not a cause for worry. Before me, no one can even think of escaping. Flame Emperor merely nodded. I know you have your ways. Va Feng Knight was proficient at dealing with weaklings. That was why Flame Emperor had summoned him. Flame Emperor, you just have to give the command, and I will take immediate action, Va Feng Knight continued, to kill or to capture alive at your command. To kill, of course. Flame Emperor said cold-heartedly. Why would I want a human captured alive? Yes, Va Feng Knight replied and did not dare say anything more. Of course, there is no rush for now. Flame Emperor shook his head. The news has spread, and many fighters from other races will attack him. That is why I called you here. Just in case. Should the other races lack the skills and allow Luo Feng to escape? That is when I will need your skills. Va Feng Knight nodded vigorously. Flame Emperor had a very high status in the Nine Territory Alliance, and belonged to one of the highest tiers of existence. His status in the alliance was definitely comparable to the status of Primal Chaos City Leader in the Hong Alliance. To handle matters under his orders, Va Feng Knight did not dare keep a slack hand. Let's wait and see, Flame Emperor whispered. Yes, said Va Feng Knight, standing behind the towering Flame Emperor obediently. Flame Emperor was, however, only focused on the scene before him. He was secretly saying to himself, Dear third brother, I trust that given how well informed you are, you will know that I was the one who let the cat out of the bag. You still have time to escape now. If not, it will be too late. I wonder, are you going to retreat, or continue to advance? Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the biological planet ship. Luo Feng sat with his wine glass in his hand. His mind was still maintaining the connection with the virtual universe. Thousand Rain Emperor was the first to contact Luo Feng through the virtual universe. His face was filled with worry. Blade River, he said. Word has spread from the open-air square of the World of Glory that you, Luo Feng, have entered Flame Emperor's territory, and is now advancing to where he lives. Even the universe coordinates of your location have been revealed. Now, many supreme beings of other races are rushing over. You are not really there, are you? Luo Feng was taken aback. Really? The news has spread. That's right, said Thousand Rain Emperor. And the information is very detailed. I felt it must be true the moment I heard it. Luo Feng, do not hide anything from me. You are in grave danger now, extreme danger. Thousand Rain Emperor's voice was fraught with worry. I got it, Luo Feng replied with a smile. Thank you. Don't take things lightly, urged Thousand Rain Emperor. You must leave quickly, right away. Supreme beings from all corners of the universe are hurrying in your direction. If you hesitate further, I am worried that you will be hunted down in no time. By then, it will be too late to take flight. Thousand Rain Emperor was genuinely worried. Do not worry, Luo Feng replied. I am very aware. Luo Feng cut the line of communication with Thousand Rain Emperor, but following close behind it were calls from Cha Man Emperor, Truyang Knight, and even Bloody Wing Knight, who also reached out to him through the virtual universe. Clearly, they must have all heard the news and considered it a kiss of death for Luo Feng. Anyone could guess that supreme beings from all corners of the universe were bound to gather to hunt down Luo Feng. Flame Emperor stood in the main palace with his eyes closed. He spared a portion of his mind to sense the space ripple around Luo Feng's spaceship. Any ripple would alert him. Flame Emperor thinks too highly of that human, Ba Feng Knight thought. He's a pinnacle universe master, and he doesn't need to mind that human. However, Ba Feng Knight still stood behind Flame Emperor quietly and respectfully. Flame Emperor suddenly opened his eyes. Suddenly, the biological spaceship stopped, and the golden armored figure flew out, soaked in blurry green light. God Country Transportation. Flame Emperor was startled. Did my third brother give up and prepare to leave? God Country Transportation was allowed in space-sealed areas. In the sacrificial tower, teleportation was not allowed, but God Country Transportation was. After all, the way they worked was different. This Blade River Emperor is scared, Ba Feng Knight said. He expected many great beings of other races to arrive, so he planned to run back to the human territory with God Country Transportation. Better for him to escape with his life. Flame Emperor whispered, grinning, lucky him. It's because of your mercy, Ba Feng Knight said. If you attacked him and control space and time, he wouldn't even have the chance to run away. Flame Emperor looked at the scene, smiling without saying anything. Suddenly, Luo Feng waved his hands, and an ugly undying fighter appeared. He first groveled at Luo Feng, then stepped into the blurry green light. As for Luo Feng, instead of leaving, he went back to the biological spaceship and kept progressing forward. He didn't go back. Flame Emperor frowned. Why did he send a slave? Ba Feng Knight was confused as well. The first great being of another race has arrived. Flame Emperor said with a smile. In another portion of space, he saw an enormous snake with a silver belly, a dark cyan back, and 2 wings on his back. There were 9 horns on his forehead, all of which had branches that were bent. His horns wound around each other like a crown. A greenish light, mixed with dimming golden light in his eyes, gleamed coldly. He seemed to notice the gaze of Flame Emperor, so he lowered his head to show respect for Flame Emperor. Demon Wing Leader of the Demon Race, Ba Feng Knight said. He's an ambitious and powerful universe overlord, Flame Emperor said. Suddenly, he looked in another direction and noticed an elder of the frog race with a black scepter. The elder also sensed the gaze, and he bowed slightly to show respect. Frog the Wise, Flame Emperor whispered. Both of them are exceptional. And the third one is coming. Flame Emperor looked in another direction, and saw a human-like being flying toward him. There were 2 horns thicker than thighs on his head, and the horns wound around his godly body like braids. His blue eyes were like stars that could pierce through souls. This great being also bowed to him. Martial Knight, Flame Emperor muttered. He has a domain-type true treasure. Against this treasure, it is the least likely that Luo Feng will escape. Ba Feng Knight said, Demon Wing Leader, Frog the Wise, and Martial Knight are all universe-renowned supreme beings with extraordinary skills. Demon Wing Leader comes from the pinnacle race Demon Race. Frog the Wise is the leader of an entire race. And as for Martial Knight, he has a domain-type true treasure. It'll be difficult for Blade River Emperor to flee from any of them. Flame Emperor smiled. Third brother, prepare for the feast I designed for you, he said. Suddenly, the godly power coming out of the main palace was weakened, and the range under the space seal was reduced to 100 light-years. Asterisk 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 asterisk. In the sector of the Flame God's secret region, Demon Wing Leader's body slid across a floating star fragment, and he gazed into the distance. Blade River Emperor is supposed to be there, Demon Wing Leader said in a hoarse voice. Blade River. All of your true treasures belong to me. He teleported there. For my frog race. I have to get the true treasures from Blade River Emperor, the elder of frog race whispered and teleported himself toward the publicized location. I have a domain-type true treasure, said Martial Knight, and if I have a soul-type true treasure and a flying palace-type true treasure, even universe masters will find it difficult to kill me. Martial Knight caressed his horns and went away. The news Flame Emperor let out was made known to the entire universe. Because it was so well known, ordinary universe Knight didn't dare meddle. The first three who arrived were all universe overlords. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The biological spaceship slowed down and stopped. The space seal is gone. Luo Feng stood in the space and saw the mist permeating. Why did my second brother stop the space seal? Luo Feng closed his eyes and started to feel his surroundings. His Mosha body could sense the space as well as universe nights. He inspected along the direction toward the lands of the flame god race, and could distinctively feel that the space ripple 100 light-years around him was stopped. Not stopped, he realized, but shrank. No matter what you've done, you've saved me 100 years. Luo Feng waved his hands and took back the biological spaceship. He teleported himself. A giant snake shadow appeared. Teleportation ripple. Demon Wing Leader's greenish eyes glinted with a thrill. He, Frog the Wise, and Martial Knight showed up in different places, and couldn't sense the others' teleportation. Besides, Demon Wing Leader was the closest to Luo Feng. To Universe Knights, they were only able to sense the teleportation ripple that was 1,000 light-years close to him. It must be him. Demon Wing Leader shook his wings and tail and teleported himself toward Luo Feng. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng arrived at the periphery of the space-sealed area. My second brother narrowed the range. Luo Feng stood in the space pervaded by mist and looked back. Have those other races arrived? Whatever. Luo Feng flew into the space-sealed area like a beam of light. Just as Luo Feng was flying into the space-sealed area, Demon Wing Leader showed up and saw the shadow in the distance. Human Blade River. Demon Wing Leader transmitted his hoarse voice with his godly power. Demon Wing Leader flew forward. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng kept flying in the secret region in near light speed and looked back at Demon Wing Leader, who was chasing him. You won't catch me, Luo Feng said with a glance. Human Blade River, you can't run away. Demon Wing Leader roared as he chased him. Instead of worrying about him, Luo Feng kept flying at near light speed. He had already hit his fastest speed. If he reached light speed, he would enter the Dark Universe. The coordinates in the Dark Universe around the lands of the Flame God race were concealed, and it would be squandering his time if he entered the Dark Universe. Law Domain. Demon Wing Leader suddenly performed Law Domain, and everything for 60 million miles around him was trapped in Time Law Domain, including Luo Feng. Luo Feng burned his godly power and maintained his speed. A simple Law Domain is useless, Luo Feng told Demon Wing Leader behind him. Suddenly, two powerful ripples appeared, which shocked and terrified Luo Feng. No. He realized. Other hunters. Demon Wing Leader sensed something wrong and looked back as well. Frog the Wise and Martial Knight were flying toward them. They teleported themselves and arrived at the periphery of the space-sealed area, and they both went into the area and started to chase Luo Feng. Three universe overlords were running after Luo Feng. However, none of them could teleport themselves in the space-sealed area. Ha ha. Frog and Demon Wing. This is the space-sealed area. Martial Knight guffawed. Your Law Domain is only able to affect Blade River Emperor. It's not enough to trap him and kill him. It seems that I'm the lucky one after all, and the soul-type true treasure belongs to me. 90 million Sand River Domain, build. Martial Knight's voice resounded around Demon Wing Leader and Frog the Wise. In the enormous, spherical area were countless grains of sand, and it was indestructible. Though each grain of sand was weak, when they were combined, they could easily annihilate some universe knights. Damn it. Demon Wing Leader growled. He was furious. Martial, the true treasures belong to me too. Martial Knight, don't be so selfish. Frog the Wise said, glaring at Martial Knight behind him. But Martial Knight was infuriated. They are mine, he shouted. They belong to me. Damn Frog. You dared attack me. It's useless. Your soul attack techniques can hardly affect me. I'll stop wasting my time on you too. Human Blade River, die. Your treasures are mine. Under Marshonite's manipulation, each grain of the sand was glowing and dashing at Luo Feng, and their power kept multiplying as they gathered. They formed a giant sand whirlpool and raced toward Luo Feng. Flame Emperor watched it all from his main palace. Third brother, he said, don't blame me for losing your true treasures. You're the one who wants the force armor. This video will end here.